Hi, gang. This is Hexy. So, I'm a game player. All right. I do have my little quandaries with rules and stuff, and but I usually don't. I don't really make any. I don't want to say really super negative comments about stuff. But so I was rummaging through my games, and I come across. I have a few of these strategy and tactics, other magazine games. And I pulled this one out the other night, and I was like, "Oh boy, I didn't realize I had this. Oh, it's the Battle of Chancellorsville. Okay, cool. All right, let's play this thing. There's not many Chancellorsville games out there, just like there's other ones like the Wilderness and Chattanooga and stuff that we'd all like to see. But this magazine, which is Strategy and Tactics number 218, yeah, no idea what year it is. I mean, yeah, no idea. Well, the game is 2003, but this thing comes with two games: Plevna, the Battle of Plevna, which I don't know nothing about, and then the Battle of Chancellorsville, which got me really pumped up. Um, First off, right off the bat, nice looking charts, short rule book, beautiful map. Of course, the map graphics good. It's Joe Yost. And then I saw the designer's name, Joe Miranda. I said, okay, this is going to be a good one, all right? Because I know Joe does some good stuff. However, this thing here, I've played through 4 turns now. I'm getting ready to start the 5th turn. And um, I'm debating whether I'm going to go on with it. Okay, so the thing works off a disintegration track till you hit like some of the Napoleon games where you hit a demoralization level. They call it disintegration here. Well, for the first thing first, both counters for disintegration are gray. Okay, so how do I even, so I'm using the Army ordered. Both the Army ordered counters are blue for like representing the Union to me, and then the disintegration counters are both gray. All right, so I'm going to use my little X's there, and I'm using the blue Army ordered counter and the gray disintegration counter to mark Confederate and Union. And then I'm using my little tile spacers that I got one blue, one red to count the buildup of disintegration points. All right. Now, in the game, the system is pretty much based off of that. Okay, there are some objectives for victory conditions, and actually the victory conditions they're kind of simple, kind of decent. Occupy, exit hexes on certain sides of the map, and then there's certain levels, and you can subtract levels and stuff like that. There's other games that are like that. But, excuse me, hex with a cough. Awful lot of golf the last 5 days. Matter of fact, it's 5 straight days. Anyhow, so I thought, okay, here we go. Great game. You've got some optional things in the setup to where you can deploy the units. Like I deployed Second Corps up there where I saw on I think it was the Battlefield Trust, American Battlefield Trust map, where they were up there. And this is 4 turns now. They've been out of command on their die roll every time. Sixth Corps, First Corps up in here, they've gotten a little activity. Matter of fact, they've had a little success there on the heights above Fredericksburg. Okay. And then, of course, McLaws and Anderson down, Anderson anyhow. McLaws is still sitting on Fredericksburg, but he's down here, Lee's down here, Jackson's down here. Okay, so first thing I noticed right off the bat after I deployed the Union was, where in the hell is the route that the Confederates, I have to assume it's this road here, but that can't be it because it was a freaking goat's path that they traveled down. I drove it in a car, and it was barely negotiable. I understand they've updated that now down there, made it a little easier to travel. Catherine's Furnace. So I never even saw the opportunity for Jackson to have the ability, unless he was just going to go through the woods with no trail and go around. Okay, it could have been done. But as the Union player, I went right after it, right off the bat. I said, you know what, fighting Joe Hooker is going to fight. So you have now here's a plus to this game that I really like. You have this command system where you roll against the commander's leadership table, and you get a certain condition. There's the leadership table. You get they're in command. You get brilliant maneuver, which Lee's probably the one who's going to get that. You get fallback, and then you get impetuous, and then you get out of command. Impetuous is kind of cool because if you roll an impetuous, you got to go after the nearest enemy unit with all the units that are under impetuous, okay? Which means you're going to march into them, you're going to get in there to do combat with them, get adjacent to them, all right? That's what the rule says. So move adjacent to the nearest enemy unit, all right? If you have multiple units that are nearest, roll the dice to determine which one you're going to move next to, all right? Here comes Pissed me off, rule number 1. Sorry, either Joe. I had so much love and desire that this game was going to be awesome. But I turn into the game, and I've got 7 notes on here of questions I have. First thing I saw, and I should have probably wrote the case numbers down, but there are 2 rules in there about attacking. The first one says they may attack if they're adjacent, and then there's another one that says that you must attack. So, now, please don't get me wrong, because maybe I just skipped over something, but there's not a whole lot of rules to read. Maybe that meant that they don't have to attack, but if they do, they got to attack every adjacent unit. Now, the reason why I'm questioning this is because there's just a couple other games I played here recently where it said that you don't have to attack, but if you do, you got to attack every adjacent unit. So maybe that's what that meant, but I didn't find that clear in the rule book, okay? So that kind of threw me off. Then I was looking at the victory conditions about north of this, south of that, east of this, west of that. If you take this, hold that, blah, blah, blah. That's a certain victory condition. There's no damn compass on the map. So I could have gone over. I mean, I know Fredericksburg. I grew up in Virginia. I could have, I'm sure I could have just looked and figured it out. But so I had to look at their victory conditions, and there's the Rappahannock River. And it said everything north and east, I think, if the Confederates take those, where the roads or trails go off the map. All right. So I put north facing up to the left of the map. All right. So there's thing number 1 I don't like. That wasn't even on here for me to help identify. Now, I don't think there's one hidden underneath the map. And a lot of times, and I'm a GIS guy. So when you give me a map, if you don't put a compass on it, I'm going to think the north part of the map is the way the map's laid out. Okay? Not the case here. So that was the first thing right off the bat that I caught. All right? Another thing, too, in this thing. They talk about there's a terrain key right here. All right? Nice little terrain key. Simple, well explained. Talks about ravines. There's no ravine in the terrain key. All right? Maybe it's not in here. Maybe there's no ravine in here, but why the hell would you talk about it? So this is the Empires at War series. So maybe there's more games that I need to look up and see that might have these ravines in it. Maybe the rule was made for that. But there's clear-cut things in the rules where they mention Chancellorsville and Plevna, or Chancellorsville or Plevna. They don't mention any other games in the rule book here. And by the way, the rule book is laid out pretty nice. It's written pretty nice. Typical old case number systems that work great. Still, once again, beautiful map, okay? Command status. Do you check all the leaders or units first and then go to movement? Or do you check like one group that you're going to do? Like I'm going to check Lee here to activate all these units that are within 4 hexes of him, and then I'm going to do my move? Or do you check all the units across the entire thing and then execute? Well, I determined, doesn't say it in the rules, but I determined you check all of them. Because you're going to get a different result for the different units or formations that are out there, or the different leaders or whatever. Okay? All right, so, yeah, it should have been clarified in the rules, but, okay, it works, all right? Artillery. So, you get a formation that gets an impetuous command. Does artillery have to charge into the nearest adjacent unit? I don't see anything about artillery not being able to move adjacent or anything like that. So that one's left out. I don't know what to do with that, because in my opinion, they wouldn't do that unless there's something wrong with them. All right, entrenchments. They talk about entrenchments. You got them right here. All right, you have entrenchment markers right here. Okay. The rules don't talk about how to build or destroy them, but it says that an engineer can build them or an engineer can destroy them. There's no specific rules that I could read that say how you do it. Do you start on one turn to build it and then the next turn is done, or is it just an instant placement? Is it an instant destroy? So I didn't, again, please listen to me. Maybe I breezed through the rules, but I've looked a couple times at the entrenchment section. I can't find it. All right. Now here's the next thing. You got 2 combat charts in here. You've got an assault and skirmish. All right, I like the concept. Here's the problem. I can't figure out how do you choose which one or the other. It doesn't give you a definitive explanation. What it does tell you is which units on these charts, all right? So I can regular infantry for skirmish or irregular infantry. Pardon my French, but what the fuck is irregular infantry? And there ain't no explanation in this game as to what it is. In the Chancellorsville game, it's regular and irregular cavalry can skirmish, okay? What's irregular cavalry? All right, and then it tells you the difference one for the plebna, and it's important because these you have on a bad attack, like you're trying to do a soak off attack, you have almost no elimination results on yourself, as opposed to doing a charge where you're getting in there and really mixing it up with them. Okay, I'm not even sure what the hell charge means. I mean, I'm assuming this is to separate just standing at a distance and shooting as compared to charging in there and bayoneting it. Okay, so that just kind of threw me the hell off. All right, and it says that it tells you these things, the skirmish and charge stuff. It'll tell you in the scenario notes. Ain't nothing in the scenario notes that mentions anything about that. All right, and then here was the last thing. Look, this is I might play a couple more turns of this. I'm not really sure, but I don't know because the disintegration thing is is kind of cool, and I'd like to see how that plays out. So maybe I will drive on with this because it doesn't take much to play it. And the one other thing is you got night turns. There's nothing in this rule book about is there anything special on night turns? Because I just played right through the 1st of May 1863 night turn, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, wait a minute, let's go see if there's. I don't remember reading anything about night rules. I still don't remember reading about night rules, and I can't find anything about them. Could be me, don't know. All right, so Chancellorsville, 1-6 May 1863, Lee's greatest victory. It's one of the games out there, it's one of the battles out there that we don't really have a good game that I know of on it. I think doesn't Blue and Gray have one in it, or do they just do Wilderness? I know there's the Pinnacle Victory, which I have that here, but every time I look at the map, I want to get sick. I don't know. Maybe I got to pull that out and play it and see. I don't know of anything else that potentially has Chancellorsville in it. Do any of the Civil War Brigade series have it? By the looks of the titles over there, I don't see one. Who knows? We need one. I think we need one. You would think. Well, I know we talked about it with I've talked about Sticker with GBACW. They said the number of maps you would have to complete that would just be phenomenal. But okay, so maybe one of you out there knows something about this game that I don't know. I'm getting ready to. I guess I'm probably going to post my little discussion about this on probably BGG. I know somebody else posted in there and they had some issues with it too, but apparently they've played it a couple times, so maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. So anyhow, any of y'all out there that have this thing, touch this thing, know anything about it? Joe, I know you comment. Joe Yost, I know you comment on my Highway to the Reich stuff, which by the way I'm still waiting. I can't wait till you get that rule book finally. So I really want to play that again. That was one of my favorite games. Well, the SPI edition was. Answer some questions for me. Help me out. Maybe somebody can straighten me out. But this was 2003 Decision Games, S&T Magazine 218. Help me out, people. If y'all got some knowledge on this or if I'm missing some stuff, somebody let me know in the comments below. All right, thanks. Talk to y'all soon.